Okay, it's roughly 11:30. Trying to lay down, try to sleep, but the second I got this idea in my head, this thing needs to focus and knock it off. The second I got this idea in my head, I couldn't sleep till I was done with it. What this video is about is taking the mystery out of a gun by teaching your children how to operate it and how dangerous it can be. Now, I've taught my daughter that. I've handed her a completely unloaded gun. You know, check the chamber 5 or 6 times prior to being about to show her, and then checking it again when I showed her, just to make sure the damn thing was unloaded. I've taught her how to operate it. I've taught her pretty much anything I could think about. So she will never see the gun as a toy and misuse it, or grab it, or touch it without my permission. Now she knows she can't touch the guns I have without my permission. Now here's the problem. There was a video on YouTube. It was a project, I'm guessing, by some kids in school or some production company who wanted to do not a commercial, but a gun safety thing. And I'm sure many of you have seen it, where they advocate children taking their guns, basically stealing it from their parents, committing a felony by bringing the gun onto their school campus, and then when everybody leaves, hand the gun to their teacher, saying, I don't feel safe with this in my house. Which is stupid, because guns are not self-aware. They will not fire by themselves. So there's so many plot holes, and that's unreal. Now again, most of those anti-gun groups are completely against showing a kid a firearm and how to operate it. But here's the problem. There are so many commercials, or whatever you want to call them, I really can't think of them right now, where it shows a child. Actually, one I can think of right now where brother and sister, I guess, were playing hide and go seek or whatever, or they were just messing around, and the daughter finds a gun in a closet. I'm assuming it's the parents' closet, or at the pin, probably a sheet or something. They unwrapped it. She had the gun in her hand. I'm gonna guess she thought it was a toy, and her other sibling finds her. Then the screen goes to black and you hear a gunshot, basically as if she pointed at her brother and fired, thinking it was a toy. That's what happens when you do not teach your children about firearms. Now, I'm not saying teach them when they're in diapers. I'm saying teach them when you believe your child can comprehend the dangers of a gun. But in order for them not to play with it, not to misuse it, or assume it's a toy, you take your gun completely unloaded and tell your child how to operate, or tell your child to do certain things with a firearm while in complete supervision. I mean, you can do it step by step. One day show them this, one day show them that. But until people start taking the mystery out of firearms with children, this is going to keep happening. Kids are going to keep accidentally shooting their siblings, somebody else, or themselves, because thanks to movies and everything like that, or the fact that they know about toys, I know that was dumb, they're going to automatically assume that gun is not real and it's a toy, and bad things are going to happen. And instead of the anti-gun groups focusing on those children did this because they were unaware of the dangers of the gun, they focused on, see what happens when you leave a loaded gun around the house, kids get killed. You shouldn't have a gun in the house when you have kids. That's a load of crap. With my child, I have two Glocks, which technically has no safeties on it, which a lot of people will argue up and down your side, and a new gun, which is a Bersa Thunder 380. It has a mess load of safeties on it. One safety is a decocker, which as long as you leave the thing in the decock position, it also put a gap between the hammer and the firing pin so that it doesn't touch. If you try pulling the hammer back, it will not do it. The trigger, you can pull the triggers. At that point, it's very light. It will not set the gun off. Another safety on it is even if you have a round in the chamber, if you pull the magazine out, roughly you get the same results. Plus, on the side of the gun, there's a little keyhole that if you put it in fire to safe, it doesn't make the trigger easy to pull. It makes it impossible. You cannot pull the trigger no matter what. I mean, I'm sure someone's strong enough to pull it and break it. Maybe I'm wrong, but a child will not be able to pull that trigger. Do not get me now. I believe, honestly, if I just left a gun just linger around the house, my daughter came upon it, she would know not to touch it. But I am not in the habit of just randomly leaving firearms around the house, because no matter what, because that's just neglect. That's just stupid. But until well, alright, let me try this. Let me say this. The people who have guns in their drawers, sock drawers, underwear drawers, whatever, or they have it in a closet wrapped in a sheet, those are the type of people who bought a gun for defense, but have never gone to, most likely have never gone to the range to use it, and are actually afraid of that gun, so they have it out of the way. And those are the guns that the children find. I mean, if somebody broke into your house, how are you going to know how accurate that gun is without going to the range? Because like I said, people like that usually don't go to the range. It's they bought it out of fear. They tucked it away. They don't want to see it unless they have to use it. And again, until you go to the range and learn how the gun operates, it doesn't matter. Good chance you're going to lose anyways. But again, if we do not teach a child about your firearms, and like I said, take the mystery out of it, so they're not curious about it and go looking for it or find it and want to see what they can do by pulling the trigger and actually shooting somebody, which has been done countless times, unfortunately. But more gun control won't fix that. Their parents teaching them about the gun will. Think about this. When you were young and you got something with your parents, you messed with it, but if it was a dangerous item and your parents taught you about it, you no longer cared about that item because you know what it's about. Your parents taught you, took the mystery out of that weapon. It's pretty much as simple as that. There is no arguing that. But anti-gun people will always be against it. Matter of fact, there are schools that are teaching firearm safety, and they're being taught by cops. And the anti-gun people are completely against it because they don't want their child around a gun or anywhere near it. But hey, that's gonna continue. Deaths from children or children accidentally shooting themselves are going to continue to happen until they're taught how to respect a firearm. You can believe me or not, I really don't give a crap. I just know my daughter has respect for my firearms. She knows not to go anywhere near them unless I give her permission, and if I'm showing her something, the gun is completely unloaded. I check, overcheck. I mean, I'm so redundant about that. I check the chamber dozens and dozens of times just to make sure nothing could possibly accidentally happen. But some people won't do that. And because of that, there will be more child deaths, more call for gun control that will not fix that. But again, people, you need to understand. Anti-gun crowd need to understand. You take the mystery out of a firearm, children no longer want to mess with it because they know how dangerous it can be, and they begin to respect that firearm. Now, I'm not advocating doing that to a 3 or 5-year-old or anything 5 and below, and possibly maybe 6. Depends. It all depends on doing that, because when they're a certain age, they can comprehend it, but at certain young ages, they can't comprehend what you're trying to tell them. It just isn't going to happen. So when you have a child that young, yes, I believe you should lock up your firearm. But as long as you can get to it quickly. But children at the age where they can comprehend it, teach them. There'll be a whole lot less child deaths if they knew how dangerous the firearm was, or knew it was capable of, and knew the gun in your house wasn't a freaking toy. Because that's what caused the problem. Oh, it's a toy. I'm gonna pretend to shoot my brother or sister. It goes off. Scares the crap out of them. It was a senseless death, even though all deaths are senseless, but it could have been avoided. Not like the anti-gun people say by not having a gun in your house, but it could have been avoided simply by teaching your child how dangerous the weapon can be, use them properly, and have to respect the weapon. As I said, my daughter will not go near the gun unless I give her permission, unless I'm supervising her. It's that simple. But some people just won't get that. But anyway, that's what I have to say on that. Everybody have a good night.
Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you think you can. Come and take it, but we'll warn you, you'll have to pry from our cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it one shot at a time.